A huge beast of a carriage speeds towards the largest and most secure prison on the continent. Parking inside the gate, it releases a gigantic troll prisoner who is put into the same cell as two humans, Edgen and Holga. Edgen welcomes the troll to the cell. The troll sees the woman Holga and tells her he would have his way with her. In response, Holga breaks both his knees and slams his head on the stone bench, knocking him out. Soon they are taken to a hearing. Edgen is excited because this time Counselor Jarnathan is overseeing, but the counselor is late. He mentions that they should wait, but the other counselors tell them to get on with his story. Years ago, he was part of the Harper's faction, spies who swore an oath to fight evil and take nothing in return. Thus began his life of heroism, where he would collect information, stop attacks, and capture evildoers like Thayan wizards. But soon the ask nothing in return heart of his oath troubled him. Edgen wished more for himself and his family. His wife was still supportive despite the hard times. But where is Counselor Jarnathan anyways? Interrupts Edgen mid-story. The counselors ask him to continue because the councilman is late, but Edgen doesn't budge. They ignore him and tell him to continue. Edgen gives in and continues with the story. He tells the council about how happy those days were for him. All that ended, though, when his life as a Harper caught up with his family. One night, 3 red wizards attacked his home while he was out. Edgen got home and found his wife collapsed on the ground. She had been stabbed by a Thayan blade. There was no remedy for a Thayan blade. As she died in his arms, she told him that she had hidden their newborn and kept her safe. Edgen gave up on his oaths that very day. He was lost without his wife and had no idea how to take care of a newborn. In the worst days of his life, Holga, a barbarian, found him. She slapped sense into him and started caring for his daughter Kira like she was her own. But between the two, not one of them had any honest skill to bring bread to the table. So Edgen and Holga became thieves, but not without honor. They had a code to never steal from the needy and to never hurt anyone. Soon Kira joined them on all their heists. Edgen gifted her a pendant with an invisibility spell. Apart from Kira, they had 2 other team members, Simon, a less than average sorcerer, and Forge, a con man. They became a sort of family and had a lot of fun. All of that changed when they met a powerful wizard, Sophina. Sophina wanted Edgen's team to carry out a heist for her. She wished to steal a relic from the Harper's keep. Edgen firmly told her no. He said he wouldn't steal from the Harpers. As an ex-Harper, he was the only one who could open the keep, which was why Sophina needed him. So Forge told Edgen that inside the keep was a tablet that could revive any dead person. This was an offer that Edgen could not refuse. So the team set out for the heist, but left Kira home. Edgen promised her that this would be his last job, and that they would never part again. They got in the keep quite easily thanks to Edgen's help. Everyone looted the treasure while Sophina picked up a horn-shaped relic and Edgen headed straight for the Tablet of Reawakening. He picked it up and this set off the alarm. Soldiers completely surrounded them in a second. Sophina immediately threw a spell of deadly chain lightning, killing all the guards in one blow. This shocked Edgen to the core, and in disbelief, he said that they never hurt people. Sophina ignored him and cast a time-stop spell. Holga was the first to get caught in the spell. Next was Edgen, who slipped on a relic. Knowing there was no escape, Edgen called out to Forge and asked him to promise to take care of Kira. Forge promised that he wouldn't flood. And that was how he was captured. Edgen, having finished recounting his story to the council, asks Holga, who is still munching on a potato, if she wanted to add anything. She shakes her head. Edgen expresses his remorse for his actions and tells the council all he wants is to be a father to his daughter again. The council makes a decision and is about to stamp it when Edgen interrupts them for the last time to wait for Counselor Jarnathan. That's when the door opens and in comes Counselor Jarnathan, who is a huge birdman. Edgen hugs him. The guard tells him to back away. Edgen signals Holga, and she throws the potato at the guard's face. Both Holga and Edgen hold on to Counselor Jarnathan and jump out the only window in the room. The counselors are baffled because they had just approved Ejin and Holga's pardon, but they broke out of prison anyway. The three of them plummet down the tower, and finally Counselor Jarnathan opens his wings and they crash on a nearby hill. Ejin and Holga are overjoyed that their escape plan worked. They begin trekking back home. They travel for many days, but when they reach home it is abandoned. This would dishearten normal people, but not Holga and Ejin. Their search for Forge and Kira has just begun. Well, it ends before it even begins. When the two of them go to the nearby tavern to write down their plan, the page they pick has an advertisement of Forge as the Lord of Neverwinter. Forge is hosting the High Sun Games, a monster-filled blood sport that had been banned by the previous Lord. So they set off to finally get his little girl back, and also the Tablet of Reawakening. Neverwinter is a huge city, and thanks to the High Sun Games, it's full of people from all over the Forgotten Realms. Ejin and Holga go straight to the palace and ask for Kira. Kira emerges looking like a well-cared-for princess. Both are beyond happy to see her, but Kira is distant with her father. Ejin notices this and asks her if everything is ok. At the same moment, Forge enters the hall and hugs his old friends. He makes small talk and tells them about how he became Lord of Neverwinter through election. Ejin asks Kira again why she was distant, and with tears in her eyes, she answers it's because he left her alone for so long to chase after more riches. Ejin is confused and asks Forge to tell her that he was after the Tablet of Reawakening to revive Kira's mother. Forge pretends to be confused and lies that it was the Tablet of Riches. At the same time, Sofina enters and Ejin is enraged to see her there. Kira, having all but confirmed her suspicions, runs off to her room. Ejin and Holga get up to attack Forge, but Sofina traps them by turning the floor into quicksand. Forge orders that they be sent back to prison and that their bounty should be collected. Sofina, though, has other plans. She orders the guard to kill Ejin and Holga. Holga takes out 5 guards all by herself, and they both escape Neverwinter. Forge tells Kira that her father has abandoned her once again and left with the Tablet of Riches. Ejin and Holga, on the other hand, won't rest till they have Kira back, and for that they need Simon's help. Simon is a terrible sorcerer, but a very good thief. He entertains an audience with his terrible magic, while he nicks all of their valuables. Midway, he messes up, alerting the people to his theft. The pair rescue him and tell him of their plan. Simon tells them that he knows a druid named Darina who can shapeshift and that she would be a helpful addition to the team. They set out for Darina's village almost immediately. Upon arrival, they witness Darina, who is shifted into an owlbear, fight off Forge's soldiers to save a wrongfully accused woman. She is a sight to behold. They tell Darina that they are also fighting against Forge, and that's all it takes for her to join them. The next day, she shifts into a fly and spies on Forge and Sofina. She finds out that Sofina isn't just a sorcerer, but an undead Thayan red wizard. Forge is in league with her and has invited the 2 richest men of the realms to his castle. He promises unrivaled gambling during the High Sun Games. Sofina shows them a vault protected with the seal of Mordenkainen. She has just given her explanation when she senses a wild shape among them. She shrieks and lets out a blast of magic at Darina, but misses. Darina dodges knights and Sofina's magic left and right and safely makes it to the street. But Sofina locates her and chases her all over the city. Darina shifts into various animals and manages to get out of the city. Darina relays the events to everyone, and Simon says that breaking through the seal is impossible and that they should give up. The only way they could break into that vault is if they had the Helm of Disjunction, which was lost a century ago. Holga tells them that her tribe once battled a great dragon over it, so they could find out from her tribe. Ejin claps and exclaims that they finally had a plan. Simon takes him to the side and tells him even if they had the helm it wouldn't work because he was too weak to attune to it. Ejin tells him to just believe in himself and it will all work out. In the meantime, no one needs to know. Simon had a spell that could reanimate dead people to ask them 5 questions at the end of which they will die again and can never be revived. So they head out to Holga's old tribe, where they plan to revive those who died in the battle against the dragon. They reach the burial grounds and revive countless corpses till they find out where the helm is. According to the final corpse, the helm is in the hands of a kind Thayan named Sankyendar. Ejin scoffs at the prospect of a kind Thayan, but all 3 of his party say that they have heard of him and it's all good. They set out to find Sank, and he is as nice as the rumors claim, if a bit dull. They tell him all about Sofina's plans with the horn. Sank takes them to a harper's hideout and tells them all the story of the Thayans, how a rogue Thayan, Shastam, sought to control them, and in his bid for power he turned them all into undead red wizards. Sank himself had narrowly escaped the incident and lost all his family in it. He promises to help them, but he wants Ejin to take an oath to defeat Forge and distribute his wealth to the people of Neverwinter. They enter the Underdark, and Sank leads them through the safest path to the helm. On their way, they encounter monsters called Intellect Devourers. These are fearsome monsters that look like brains with legs. They attack prey with high intellect. Sank tells the group to be ready and make no sound. But suffice to say that no one in this group was safe. The Underdark is made of many floating islands that are held up by chains attached to the roof of the cavern. They reach a bridge and Sank explains to them the complicated moves they must make in order to get across the bridge. But Simon steps on a trap and the bridge collapses. The whole group thinks about what to do. Simon looks at Holga and notices she has a magic staff in her backpack. The staff has a spell called Hither Thither that allows the person to travel from one place to another with a range of 500 meters. Simon uses the spell and everyone hurries to get the helm. Sank retrieves the helm from its hiding place and gives it to Ejin to protect with his life. Ejin promptly throws it to Simon. As they are about to leave, their way is blocked by 6 Thayan assassins. Sank deals with 5 of them in seconds. The leader is more skilled, and it isn't as easy for Sank to finish him off. As soon as he is done, he tells the group to run. The Thayans are undead, so they were only incapacitated. The commotion wakes up the fat dragon Thundercod. It eats the red wizards first and chases the group as well. They get to the floating islands, and Thembertrod's bumbling attempts to follow them break the chains holding the island up. Simon gets them to safety with the same Hither Thither spell. They run into a cave and the dragon follows but gets stuck at the mouth of the cave. It's a dead end with a dragon on one end and water quickly filling up. Ejin notices it is salt water and tricks the dragon into blowing up the wall of the cave so they can escape into the sea. This is where Sank and the rest of the group part ways. He wishes them luck for their heroic mission. Simon tries to attune to the helm, but every time he tries, the helm rejects him. After countless tries, he fights with Ejin. Simon tells him he knew this would happen, but Ejin was stubborn about it. Dorina hears this and is fed up with it. So she decides to leave. Holga is the first to support him, followed by Simon and Dorina. In the morning they hatch a plan B. Holga tells Simon to attach the Hither Thither spell to an object. This way they can smuggle it inside the vault with the rest of the treasure and walk into the vault from any location. They choose a painting for this. Simon and Dorina smuggle it inside the carriage that is transporting the treasures. The Hither spell is attached to the painting hidden behind the canvas. All their efforts are wasted when on the eve of the High Sun Games they open a portal on their end, and all they can see is stone. The painting had fallen face first, and their plan B had failed. So they go back to plan A. Simon and Holga break into the palace. Holga takes down a host of guards while Simon tries his last-ditch effort to attune to the helm. Dorina, on the other hand, tries to make a hole in the ground so she can get in the vault as a worm. That leaves Ejin, who runs off to find Kira. Simon manages to attune to the helm, and both he and Holga go into the vault to find it empty. At the same time, Dorina has succeeded too, but the vault she is in is full. She explores it and figures out the treasure is stored under the arena near the docks. Forge's plan was to smuggle all the treasure out for his own gain. She has just made the connection when a guard knocks her out. Ejin finds Kira in her room and apologizes to her with all his sincerity, but turns out that it isn't Kira, rather Sofina using magic to look like her. She summons a giant tentacle to capture all 3 thieves in the castle. Ejin begged her to put them in the High Sun Games instead of killing them right away. Sofina agrees. The arena is an ever-changing maze that is made up of columns that go up and down as the maze changes. All 4 of them are thrown into the games. Escape is impossible because Darina and Simon's magic is blocked with cuffs. The maze shifts every minute, and the players have to survive dangerous monsters and get to the center. They run into the maze, dodging danger left and right. Darina runs aimlessly, and her hand gets stuck in a gelatinous cube at the base of a column. The cube starts slowly dissolving her hand. Holga helps and pulls Darina's hand out safely with the cuffs still stuck inside the cube. This gives Darina an idea. Just before a minute is up, she tells all the thieves to jump into the cube. They all tell her she's crazy and that it will dissolve them to the bone. She asks them to trust her, and they all jump into the cube a second before the column goes under the arena. Darina turns into a snake and escapes from the cube, pulling everyone out safely. They get to Forge's ship where he has smuggled all the riches and is escaping with Kira. Ejin tells Kira the truth and she accepts it. That's when Forge holds her hostage with a knife to her throat. He starts giving a villainous speech, but Holga hits him in the face with a potato she found nearby. Reunited with Kira, they are about to sail away when they see a cloud of red smoke form over the arena. Ejin decides to fulfill his promise to Xenk. Simon puts a hither-thither spell on the boat that is attached to a hot air balloon. Seeing gold fall from the hot air balloon, people empty the arena and run to pick the gold up. This foils Sofina's plan to make her own undead army. She attacks the thieves but is tackled by Darina in her Ulbir form. From there on, Sofina fights all 4 of the thieves at once while casting magic and grappling. She animates a statue of a dragon to fight Holga while she fights Darina and Simon. Ejin attacks her and her hold on the statue breaks. She throws Ejin off, but both he and Holga get up and charge her. Sofina traps them in a clear rolling sphere. Bruised and battered, the thieves regroup and get ready for a final charge against Sofina, but she casts a time-stop spell. She reveals her true face and laughs in Ejin's face, who is stopped by the spell. Or he was supposed to be stopped, but Simon countered the spell. While everyone is pretending to be caught in the spell, Kira, who everyone forgot about, used her invisibility amulet and put the magic blocking cuff on Sofina. Sofina grapples with Holga, but Darina turns into an Ulbir one final time and slams the undead sorceress on the ground repeatedly. But tragedy has stuck, because in her final moments, Sofina stabbed Holga with the same dagger Ejin's wife died from. Kira sobs uncontrollably for the only mother she had ever known. Ejin realizes this, and instead of bringing his wife back, he uses the tablet of reawakening on Holga, Kira's mother, in every way that counts. Thanks to the thieves, the rightful Lord Neverwinter awakens from his magic sleep. He rewards the thieves and proclaims them to be heroes. Forge is sent to the same prison where Ejin and Holga once were. He petitions the Absolution Court, but they deny his pardon. Out of options, he drags Counselor Jarnathan to the curtains behind him, aiming to jump out the window. But the window has been walled over after Ejin's escape. Forge has set himself up for a life in prison, while the honorable thieves are now a family. And that marks the end of our tale from Dungeons & Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, released in 2023. Directed by John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein, the movie had a star-studded cast. Surprising, isn't it, how a simple thief and his companions could challenge their treacherous friend Forge and the formidable Sofina? What do you make of their daring heist to reclaim what was wrongfully taken from them? Share your thoughts on their story in the comments below with #CinemaRecap. Until next time.